To the United Nations is admitting that Tehran has been sending arms, training and empowering resistance groups in the region, but he's claiming that the terrorist groups are making their own decisions as far as what to do with it. A Defense Intelligence Agency analysis is now confirming Houthi rebels in Yemen are using Iranian-supplied missiles and drones in their attacks. Joining me right now is former U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Kurt Volker. Kurt, good to see you. Thanks for being here, Ambassador. Your reaction?
Thank you, Maria. Great to be with you. Great that we hit that group in Baghdad. I think it's very important that they see there is a direct response after killing Americans. Unfortunately, I think we let this get out of hand, over 100 attacks on U.S. forces in the region before we began to really respond. And we've been very careful not to bring it to Iran itself, I suppose, because we don't want to see attacks from Iran, terrorist attacks inside the United States. But I think we're going to have to do a lot more before Iran really gets the message. And what we heard from that Iranian ambassador at the UN, that they are doing this but taking no responsibility, is just unacceptable.
Well, President Biden is making a statement this morning on the loss of U.S. Marines in California. The president says, Jill and I are heartbroken at the loss of 5 U.S. Marines whose aircraft crashed while flying from Nevada to California during a routine training mission. Our hearts go out to their families. That's from me. And I don't know. Ambassador, your thoughts on overall foreign policy here. I mean, you've got Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in the Middle East. He's leaving the Middle East today without a hostage deal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is rejecting the Hamas's proposed cease deal. And then you've got China on the march, our adversaries, China, undermining America at every turn. Obviously, we're watching 2 wars, not just on Israel, but also on Ukraine from Russia. Your thoughts on foreign policy decisions that got us here?
Well, Maria, I join you in expressing condolences to the families of those Marines who were killed. It's a tragedy. It happens in the military training accidents, or other accidents happen, but it's always a tragedy. Concerning the state of the world, all of our adversaries are on the march, whether it is Russia or whether it's Iran. North Korea is firing more missiles, China continuing to assert itself in East Asia. And that's because they have gotten conditioned to see a United States that doesn't want to respond, doesn't want to escalate in any way. So they try something, it succeeds, they go again. And this has been a pattern that we've seen over a few years now. I honestly have to say, I think we have to go back to the withdrawal from Afghanistan and how chaotic that seemed, with people falling off of airplanes as they take off and U.S. forces not going into the city to rescue Americans. And I think that sent a signal to all of our adversaries that the U.S. didn't have the stomach for this anymore. And that, I think, has led to a lot of the escalation that we've seen today.
Yeah, and of course, that's when we lost 13 service members on the ground in Afghanistan. But today, this administration continues to try to write the policy for Israel. Here's what Anthony Blinken had to say about a hostage deal, which is not happening, after meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. Watch this.
What I can tell you about these discussions is that while there are some clear non-starters in Hamas's response, we do think it creates space for agreement to be reached. And we will work at that relentlessly until we get there.
Ambassador, what is the U.S. doing here?
Well, you know, I have a lot of sympathy for Secretary Blinken here. You want to get the hostages out. You don't want to see them killed. You don't want to see them tortured or anything happen to them. Yeah. You want to get them out as quickly as possible. So that's understood. The problem here, though, is that Hamas has very effectively used these hostages to deter the U.S. in some ways, to put pressure on Israel, to flip the narrative that somehow Israel is the one misbehaving here, right, rather than Hamas by holding the hostages to begin with. We need to actually be very full-throated and use as much force as possible against Hamas to get those hostages out. We should be actively participating in this with Israel.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the U.S. conducted 2 self-defense strikes in Yemen yesterday against 3 Houthi mobile ship cruise missiles, preparing to launch against ships in the Red Sea, as 54 House Republican lawmakers are calling on the Biden administration to designate the Houthis as a foreign terrorist organization. The White House placed the Houthis on the specially designated global terrorist list last month, but the lawmakers write in a letter to Blinken, quote, "The administration must do more to restore deterrence, including a stronger SDGT designation." an FTO designation, and measures that directly penalize Iran. Kurt, you know that the Houthis were on the terrorist list. President Trump put them on the terrorist list. As soon as Joe Biden got into office, he took them off. Why?
Yeah, I don't understand why, because they are a terrorist group. Even President Biden, when he was asked about this in Pennsylvania about 2 weeks ago, said he thinks they are a terrorist group because they are a terrorist group.
Right.
So, of course, they should be on the list. And the point that the lawmakers made as well is that Iran has to feel this. As long as it is just the proxy groups that Iran is arming, training, funding, etc., Iran will continue to do it because they feel they can do it with impunity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just feels like anything President Trump had in place, President Biden overturned. You know, even if it were things that were working, it was all politics all the time. And what's most concerning to me is the rise of communist China. You know, I spoke with President Trump last week in an exclusive interview, and I spoke with him about how he kept China contained. And he did that through sanctions and through tariffs. I'm wondering if you believe that's the only way, or is there another way to keep China at bay? They've sent a surveillance balloon here. They are surveilling American citizens. They obviously allowed COVID to escape, then covered it up. They've got Chinese nationals coming through the open border, creating a little army here. We don't know what that's about. Here's President Trump with me this week on his use of tariffs. Your critics are saying that you're going to start another trade war with China.
It's not a trade war. I did great with China with everything. Look, China came in, they were going to destroy our steel industry, and I put tariffs, big tariffs, 50% to 100%, but 50% for the most part. It stopped it. I have steel people that every time they see me, they start to cry. They hug me. They said, you saved our industry. But now we're letting it go.
Now the Washington Post is saying that you're talking about 60% tariffs on Chinese goods. Is that in the cards?
No, I would say maybe it's going to be more than that, because we're going to have, look, I want China to do great. I do. And I like President Xi a lot. He was a very good friend of mine during my term.
Well, look, COVID cover-up, intellectual property
when
theft.
COVID came,
the list is long
different.
from our number one adversary, so I don't know if he's a friend.
No, but I got along with him great. I'm not sure he loved what I was doing because I was, getting along with him.
I don't think he wants you in the White House, Mr. President.
No, he doesn't.
So what's your take? Obviously, Beijing must be happy with Joe Biden in the White House.
Well, let's take the politics out of it for a second and say, what do we actually need to do with China? Whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, whoever it might be, what do we need to do? We need to show that we are in a strong position, that we are willing to push back on Chinese behavior that we find is very detrimental to our interests, and then try to find a way where we are not having to do that, where we can actually work together on issues that we care about, that we are very far from that right now. And that's because we've been demonstrating a position of lack of resolve or lack of resources committed to our resolve.
Yeah.
We have to show strength and we have to act, and I think we can get to a better balance with China. Well,
time is running out, Kurt. In a phone call earlier today, Chinese President Xi Jinping told Russian President Vladimir Putin that the two countries need to have a close strategic cooperation to defend their own security and oppose foreign interference, suggesting America. Xi is also saying that China is willing to strengthen its multilateral cooperation with Russia. We know they're going to be doing their own joint exercises, Kurt.
Yeah, but I'd say in the case of China and Russia, words are cheap. Russia's in a very weak position compared with China. Putin is really the one who's driving that relationship, seeking to get help from China. And China has actually been playing it very low key for the most part. They have not been doing a lot to help Russia out. They're looking after their own interests. They want to buy gas, they want to buy oil. Russia has it, they'll buy it. But that doesn't really mean a strategic alignment. And I think those are easy words for Xi to say. I think there's a lot less to it than meets the eye.
All right. Kurt Volker, great to get your insights on all of this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we will see you soon. Quick break.